Mirror Business FM with me, Tim Elliott. It's the morning drive, and time to welcome back Kevin Sebastian. He is a tech journalist and a commentator and has just flown in. I'm very pleased to have you here, Kevin.
Thank you for having me.
Nice to see you. Thank you for coming in to join us. We've only got 15 minutes or so to talk today, but I think there's plenty to talk about. First thing I wanted to put to you is it's Samsung Unpacked, and it's tomorrow, Is that right?
It's usually tomorrow. The next brand of the S series phones are being launched.
Yes, this 26.
It's the S26. We've already spoken quite a bit on the show as well about the phone. But they released a teaser video yesterday about their low light video recording capabilities.
Yeah.
And again, as someone who does a lot of video content, someone records, and I'm still using my S23 Ultra because of that very specific reason. Low light video recording is obviously going to be an excellent choice for anyone to have on the phone. And there is a bit of a caveat to that video, however, because it was showing AI assisted. Now, to what degree AI assistance does, because Samsung have previously found themselves in controversy over the use of the word AI in this case. Like, I get it, in the sense that, for example, with the phone being able to shoot the moon, for example, what was actually going on in the background was that the phone was sampling images of what the moon looks like, and then AI will interpolate it and do it. So the question is, did you actually click the photo, or did AI do it for you? And I think that argument and debate now suddenly gets pushed out a lot as well, because the thing is, at the end of the day, when you're taking a picture, especially, you want to be able to tell people, oh, I clicked this. But when you suddenly have a situation where you take a photograph and then AI is now doing all the touch-ups and everything, and you get a fully processed photograph.
Yeah.
The question then comes did you actually do all of that stuff? You did, really. That's the logical answer to that. However, does it matter? There's also the other thing, is that the idea of your picture was captured or not? And I think that's an entirely different debate, which comes back to the whole video recording aspect of it, because they've not fully told us what is going to be happening in the situation. And I wish they elaborated more on the ad campaign on this, because they make good cameras. Samsung have been one of the best Android devices to make cameras, but just I feel like almost are going to be shooting themselves in the foot that way.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why they have to use that term throughout, because in fact, if anything, people are actually going away from the whole AI trend now. People want to see human content once again.
I think you're right. I also think that everybody's a photographer now without knowing anything about photography at all, because you don't need to. Now it's all about white balance. When I was growing up, white balance didn't exist. It was aperture and it was focal length. And, that was so you would have to work on that. But now it's just snap. It's point and snap.
Yeah. And honestly, look, you can still appreciate photography. You can appreciate the idea. And I don't think, as purists, people should gatekeep creativity. If someone is getting the tools to do the same kind of thing, that's progress. That's modernity, in a whole different compass that we're looking at. And in fact, right now, even if you look at how videos are being made, they're being made, again, on a very vertical format, vertical videos are a thing. And we've had this conversation 5 years ago, why are people watching it on a slab, why can't people enjoy watching it? And then suddenly someone said, imagine watching Nolan's Interstellar on your phone. And that is these are the questions we have, but this is the world we live in. Kids today are glued on their phones, and they are watching things in a vertical format. They can't, in fact, fathom turning their phone sideways, because in the next 10 seconds, they're just swiping to the next video.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and that's a whole different conversation. But coming back to the phone, I do think that one of the things that Samsung really need to push this year is, again, the cameras being one and their battery being the second.
Yeah.
Now, we know for a fact, based on the specs that leaked last week, that again, we don't have MagSafe. Android, Samsung specifically, this is a case, by the way. This is something that iPhone has inbuilt.
Yeah.
But this year, Samsung doesn't have the magnets also, according to the spec sheets. And that means if you have wireless accessories which are hooked up by magnets, you're going to have to buy a case for these phones. It's not inbuilt, which is kind of annoying, considering that you're paying a significant amount of money for this.
Yeah.
And the other thing as well is performance as well. We know the fact that the next Snapdragon Qualcomm chip is going to be installed in it. But what about the battery? So the S26, according to leaks, has an extra 300 milliamps, and the S25 Plus as well. But a very interesting change now, and this is something to do more with the RAM story I told you about, the fact that we have a shortage of RAM.
Yeah.
I think the S26 Ultra, which is the premium phone, you will get 16 GB of RAM if you buy the 1 TB model. Which, if you buy the 512 or lower than that, the memory model, you actually will get only 12 GB of RAM. So you're basically getting lower RAM for lower processing speed. So if you want to get the best performance, you're going to have to buy the maximum capacity.
But they always do that with the Ultra. There's always like the top Ultra phone, it seems to me, is super spec'd. Spec'd beyond anything you really need. But you know, if that's what you want, then that's what you buy. And as you go down, you know, it's incremental steps, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah. So I think what's happening here is that back when we had the best spec phone, you could get the same performance regardless of what memory capacity you went for.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. The idea was that you had options to buy in different price ranges. Like the 512 and the 1 TB are quite a bit of a difference. In fact, we're talking about at least 500 to 600 dirhams here of difference between two different models in the Ultra.
Yeah.
So the RAM shortage is coming now. Like it's making itself way more apparent now.
It's making itself heard for sure. Well, I was going to ask you about that, but I just wanted to point to something quickly.
Yeah.
So S26, what's your phone there?
I'm the S23.
So that's what, 3 years of difference in theory.
Yeah.
Are you at a point when you think it's time to upgrade because this phone is actually a lot better?
I would think so because for me, I would say, like, if you want to upgrade, and this applies to Apple as well. Like, if you want to upgrade your phone, like, you better have a very good reason to upgrade, unless you know your phone's broken or whatever, or you want the next best feature in your phone.
Yeah.
And the primary markers are battery, performance, camera. These are my three. And for me now, the cameras are significantly improved enough that, okay, you know what? I'm starting to take a lot of videos on my phone now. Do I need to get the next best thing? Yes, it will, because I have a logical reason to get it. But for other people who are on the S25 or S24, for that matter, they may not see as much as the difference on the S26. And that's what I'm saying. Like, now we've come to a stage where it makes proper justification to upgrade your phone maybe once in every 3 years, as opposed to every year.
See, that seems like good logic to me.
Yeah.
Because the life of the phone, you're going to drop it a little bit. You may have had to have the screen replaced or something in 3 years. So it's probably time at that point.
Yeah, like for me now, and even like if you put both the phones side by side to a normal user who doesn't know tech, they won't be able to tell the difference. Again, with the Apple iPhone, they had to make a plateau on the back to say that this is the iPhone 70 Pro. If they didn't do that, then you wouldn't have been able to like tell it from the first glance, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So I think we've reached a stage, and this is like the plateau of design innovation in mobile phones. Like I'm referencing the days of the Nokia when we had weird phones come out with weird different form factors, and I want to come back to that era again. And I think we are slowly starting to get there because we're starting to see phones which are like dumb phones, for example. People who want a phone for the sake of calling and texting, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I think we're going back to that era again where less is more. And people are now like again, the competition is insane now this year because we have the likes of Oppo, Nothing, which have also released a phone as well.
Yeah.
Samsung, iPhone. You're spoiled for choices here. And especially if you're in the Android camp, you have like 1 of 7 different models that offer you a niche. Especially if you're like into camera, you have a phone just for that. The Xiaomi does that well. And then if you want like calling quality, again, other phones are there as well for that specific use. So Samsung literally now, the scene is back in the day, we used to have 2 titans in the fight. Now we have like 10. So Samsung are going to find themselves in a very, very different market in 2026, mainly because, again, costs of tech are rising as well. And even Samsung also are trying to keep up. So it's going to be very interesting to see the price points of these devices here in this market. I don't fully expect them to increase it by a lot, actually, because when it comes to pricing strategy in our region, at least in the Middle East, is that they've kept it pretty much under parity, like every year consistently.
It seems to be.
Yeah, because they know the customer base and they know to even change that figure by at least 300, 400 dirhams. They know that their competition is going to reconsider to other brands. And there are at this point, especially considering the fact that some of the strongest competitors are coming from China all the way. So Samsung now literally, I fully expect the S26 Ultra to sell well here. Like that's the creme of the crop phone. But the S26 and S26 Plus, again, it depends, because again, people who have bought the S25s and already bought it are not going to probably upgrade. Like, I don't think they see the reason to that. You being one of them.
Case in point there.
And I said this last year as well, like upgrade if you really need to upgrade it, otherwise don't. And the one thing, and this is a personal grief I've had, I love the S23 Ultra and I've hung on to it because it had the stylus.
Because of the stylus, right?
Yeah, and the stylus is a beautiful thing. As a journalist, like I can take shorthand notes. And ever since that got dropped, I've been a bit sour about it. And the trend repeats again this year. Like I would love to have, again, you can still buy the stylus, no problem.
Yeah.
And put it on your case. And there are ways to work around it.
It's not the same, is it?
It's not the same, is it? No. Yeah, but that's the thing though, right? Because to them, it makes perfect sense for Samsung because how many people are actually using the stylus? It's like a very small market. So with that being said, however, like we're starting to see a trend where like they're literally like taking parts away that save them money, as any corporation does.
Yeah.
And we're going to see this with Apple as well, especially again now when later in the year, Samsung have another competitor with their foldable category now coming from Apple.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a whole different conversation when it comes out. So like, which fold is going to be the better one then? So we'll wait and see.
Well, I want to ask you about that, actually. We've got a few minutes, but I just wanted to know, there's a new phone from nothing, and if you don't know anything about nothing, which is one of those phrases, that was totally accidental. I quite like nothing phones. I've been very tempted by them a few times, and they are substantially cheaper, and specs pretty good.
Yeah, so while their specs don't match the top tier phones, again, the Nothing brand was again inspired by the guys who came up with OnePlus.
Yes.
And I think if you like again, this whole topic I mentioned about phones having crazy form factors, nothing is coming close to that because the idea is that the phone should be a very cool tool for them. And the 4A is the one that's coming out now. And in fact, they have stripped of all the bloat that makes a phone. So essentially, you have your calling and you have your UI, which is very slick, very easy to look at, and it has a nice little lighting background feature as well.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool, especially when the phone rings and the phone starts illuminating. It's nice to look at, but again, it's more gimmicky than most. And the idea is that they're targeting a very subsection of mobile phone culture here, because this is a brand that targets young teens, people who are on a budget. In fact, anyone who's on a budget and they need a very cool phone, just buy a Nothing phone.
Yeah, which doesn't really include me for some reason, but I've looked at them a lot of times, and spec-wise, I think that would be okay.
Yeah.
And it was probably a couple of thousand dirhams cheaper.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I think you're looking at least 2,000 to 3,000 dirhams max.
Yeah,
on a good and top end model.
We've minute or so that we have left. There's the Google Pixel 10a has now been revealed. I wanted to ask you about the iPhone 18 Pro and the iPhone Fold launching maybe September.
Yes.
Just a quick mention on that. Then we've got the iPhone 17e, which is like is it a more budget?
It's a more budget.
iPhone,
like it's mostly to do with people who are wanting an eSIM phone. That's what the E models are for.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm with you. The 17 Pro. What was it I said there? No, the 18.
The 18 Pro.
The 18 Pro. What are your thoughts?
Again, same story. Like the Fold is going to be the talking point of that conversation.
It's going to get lost in that.
It's going to get lost in the sauce for sure. Like the 18 Pro really has to wow people this year.
Yeah.
And I think, again, when the Fold comes out, again, specs wise, I fully expect the Fold to not have the better cameras than the Pro and the Pro Max because they're going to make that distinction very clear.
Space-wise, it's
you want a
possible.
foldable screen, you want the best, and you can quote me on this. Apple's going to definitely say the best foldable screen on a phone. They will probably give that to you, and then at the cost of maybe batteries and camera, which is again your Pro and Pro Max models.
Yeah, that makes sense. What was the last thing I was going to say to you today? It was this: Apple's AI glasses release date and features. They've long been rumored. You were remotely excited about glasses?
Yeah, but that's what I was also excited about the Vision Pro, and we all know what happened with that story.
Yeah.
I would probably want to see it more in use than when it comes out before it gets implemented. Again, but then Apple have, to their credit, now being a bit more braver and bolder in terms of what they want to put out in the market there. So it's more of a we'll see, and then how it goes for them.
No release date yet,
Yeah.
but probably a lot higher than Meta's Ray-Ban smart
Yeah, I
glasses.
would
They're
fully expect-
1,500 odd dirhams, aren't they?
Yeah, the top end one which you can get, and this is on UAE prices, is for 2,200 dirhams,
Right.
and you can get them through Oakley or Ray-Ban.
All right, then. That's all the time we've got, unfortunately. I had a few more things to ask you, but hopefully, Kevin, join us again next week, if you would. We'll talk more tech. For now, Kevin Sebastian is a tech journalist, tech commentator. Pleasure to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming in. This is Mirror Business FM.